Hello, this is Hal Waller. It's a pleasure to be invited to take a look at your wonderful photographs again. But before we get going, I thought I'd talk for just a moment about judging. At times, it's a tough assignment in which you think about keeping your motor running and the car pointed at the exit. But it also is a lot of fun because you get to see a whole lot of beautiful images. I try to remain basically unbiased and not have any fixed dislikes, as I have seen some judges have, and I try to look at the images based first on the mechanical aspects of photography, such as subject, composition, lighting, originality, and that sort of thing, and most especially, impact. The images that stick out from the first run-through are usually the ones that will end up in the winner's pile. So when it comes to this aspect of critique, I hope that my comments will be useful to you. Now, photography is also an art form, so try as you might, in the end, the appeal to the reviewer will have some effect. So if you think your image didn't get a fair hearing, put it in again. It might be that the judge's taste was all in his mouth. Congratulations to you for some beautiful images. Well, let's get started with the stop motion contest. In regards to the beginners, I was impressed by some of those shots. I thought they looked better than beginners. The first image is Coastal Waves, 10 points. It fits the theme, is in good focus, but needs some dramatic lighting or something else to make it an eye grabber and push it over the top. Think of the paintings that have a similar theme and how they capture your eye, and try and imitate them. Next image, At the Finish Line, 11 points. Fun image that fits the theme well, colorful and jubilant, and in good focus. The problem, and it's hard to avoid, is the confused background that doesn't allow the subject to be well separated from the background. Next image, Falling Off My Horse, 12 points. Great action shot, colorful and active. Too bad that it has that big white wall right behind the center of the action. I know, you can't arrange when the action happened. That's where painters have an advantage over the photographers because they can do things just the way they want. I also wish that it had just a slightly faster capture on the cowboy's face for a little more sharpness of that part of the image. Next image, Night Herons, 12 points. Third place, Kathy Lynn. Beautiful arty image. Could benefit from just a little more crispness of the main character and a little more contrast. Next image, High Five, 12 points. Second place, Debbie Kennard. Great capture, shot at just the right moment. The cloud makes the rider look really high, almost like he had dropped off the high fiver. Would have benefited from a vertical crop rather than the horizontal. Next image, Stomp, 15 points. First place, Robin de Ruin. This is an arty eye grabber, especially with black, white, and red. It has punch. I wish the figure had a little more space ahead of it than behind it, and the feet were a little more visible, but this is a great image. All right, now the intermediate group. There are a lot of good shots here. First image is Taking Off, 8 points. Always love the beauty of butterflies and flowers. There are nice colors in this image, and I like the way that the colors contrast with the background. The background is just great, by the way. My problem here is that no part of the subject, that is the butterfly, is in sharp focus, and at the angle at which it was shot, it's difficult to see if the butterfly is taken off or it is still on the plant. Next image, Flyover in Turks and Caicos, 8 points. Almost stopped the motion. I may be mistaken, but this looks like camera shake to me. A pro doing this kind of photography would tell you that the copter should be sharp and the blade should still show the effect of motion. Hard to do in a flyover. Also, is that the beginning of a cloud in the right lower corner? It is a little distracting. Next image, Birds in Flight, 10 points. Sure enough, birds in flight, and you can get a good look at the lead bird, which is neat. Principal problem here is that it lacks interest, and the instrumentation on the top of the ship is distracting. I might also have considered correcting the tip of the ship in the photo. Next image, Worldwide Photo Walk, 10 points. I like the idea of this shot and thought it was kind of neat. I also personally like the yellowed color of the figures. Other people might disagree with that. And I like the fact that it contrasted nicely with the purple wall. Would maybe like to have seen a little more of the photographer on the left instead of having her chopped off, but in the current composition, a little less of the purple wall to the right would have improved the balance. Also, the image suffers from its current lighting and the fact that the main subject is blown out. Next image, A moment at the fair, 11 points. Some judges that I've experienced seem to be staid in their approach to photography and don't like anything new. I like this shot. Found it very interesting to look at, and I liked the effect. I just didn't think it reflected the theme quite as well as some of the other entries. I also wondered why the people weren't composited without the different colored background. The shot is really pretty interesting if the foreground was cropped up a little and the people removed. It even looked better to me. Well, you know how nutty judges get. Next image, avoiding the defender, 11 points. Good action shot, caught at a great moment. Too bad more artistic lighting could not have been arranged. Perhaps shot at a different time of the day and maybe a little tighter crop from the right. Next image, wakeboarding in Granbury, 11 points. This is an image with lots of action and a nice splash. The thing that could help here is a little less confused background. Maybe a little less depth of field or a slower shutter speed while tracking the skier to blur the background. And, of course, less mundane lighting. I know, it happens when it happens, and that we don't always have control over that. That's why we have to take so many shots. Next image, Major Leagues, Here I Come, 12 points. Another nice action shot with good composition, stable and sharp with just a hint of movement still in the bat. Great. Only thing that might make it a little more exciting is if the moment of contact with the ball or immediately thereafter was caught in the shot. I also might have been tempted to clone out the man in the seats to the left if the contest rules allow such a thing. Next image, Butterfly, 12 points. Great action shot with a lot of action, yet the swimmer looks sharp and also has an intense look on his face. Next image, That's a Foul, 13 points. Love the expression on the faces, especially of the one holding the ball. The motion is evident everywhere, but has been stopped for that great facial expression on the central figure. I thought it was a great shot. Next image, On the Move, 13 points. Honorable mention, James Haynes. Really is an attractive nature shot with nice lighting and nice color. For me, it began to have the feel of an old master's painting. The birds were sharp. The title did seem to conflict a little bit with the photo, as the birds have been dead stopped, and the title is On the Move. Next image, Cream in My Coffee, 14 points. Third place, Brian Prestaman. Another great shot. Love that creamized, if you'll forgive the word, knob on the top of the coffee spout. Give a try to removing the spoon and see if you think that makes the shot look even better. But I thought it was a great shot. Maybe a teeny bit more contrast. The next image, Splash, 14 points. Second place, Ron Lynn. Great shot. Pulls your eye right into the action. Good composition, nice contrast, sharp focus. This is an eye grabber. Next image, Wormhole, 15 points. First place, Don Champlin. I looked and looked at this image, trying to figure it out and what it was and how it was done. In fact, everyone that was with me looked and looked at it to try and figure it out. It is a crisp, colorful image that indeed makes you look and try and figure it out and look at it just because of its beauty. It's an arty piece. I thought it was just a great shot. Moving on to the advanced group. First image is Let Me Through, 9 points. Wasn't sure what the subject was here until I read the title. There's some noise in the image, but a good capture considering the action and the indoor lighting. The subject lights lack or something else on the subject itself to set her off from the pack and make her stand out. Next image, Unstoppable Motion, 9 points. Cute title and a cute child with obvious enthusiasm for the run on his face. The background is a little distracting and would have been nice to have the light on the face rather than a highlight of strong light on the side of the subject. It's a nice photo, but it has the feeling of a snapshot rather than a thought-out art piece. Next image, Kerplop, 11 points. I like the title. Bright and colorful, caught at just the right moment. The single drop caught in the air is sharp, and the peripheral reflections are beautiful and intriguing. But the lack of focus in the center bothered me. I think a slightly faster shutter speed would have made it. Next image, Swing into Fall, 11 points. Pretty leaves and a cute subject, but a little dull to look at. Needed a little something else happening to put it over the top. Next image, Hummingbird in Colorado, 11 points. Nice lighting on the bird. and shot at an angle with a good background for the subject. Did not look super crisp, however. Next subject, horse on the run. 11 points. Nice capture with a beautiful and powerful looking animal. I liked the way the photographer tracked the animal and had it nice and sharp while blurring the background. Just a little over-processed for this type of shot for my taste. Yikes! I shouldn't have used a word like my taste, but they invariably get into judging. Next image, Indian dancers, 12 points. The image is very colorful and active, making it interesting to look at. You can almost hear those ankle bells as they dance. I would have considered cropping a little bit off the right side to better match the cropping on the left side and give a little bit better balance. The next image, Blue Drop, 13 points, honorable mention, Ken Morton. Attractive, colorful shot, caught at the right moment with good subject sharpness. Next image, Rose Rain, 13 points, third place, Jim Shannon. Pretty roses and a pretty model, attractively lighted, and a nice non-conflicting background. Slight motion in the flowers I thought was nice, and the model is nice and crisp. Next image, Irrigation number 2, 14 points, second place, Jim Spencer. An attractive image. I really like this one. I fooled around cropping from the left and cropping from both sides, and in the end thought it looked just great the way it was. Great color in action. Looks arty, which always draws attention. There is one dot noted below the spray on the left-hand side of the image that is too big for a water drop that I thought should be considered to be cloned out. Next image, Buzzing for Pollen, 15 points, first place, Linda Grigsby. When I first saw this shot, I thought, okay, another flower bee shot. We've all done these and seen them so often that they don't seem to promote much interest. But this is a great shot. Great yellow flowers against the blue contrasting sky and everything sharp. But the thing that really sets it apart, I thought, was that counterbalancing bee flying off in the upper left-hand corner with the flopping wings, and yet the bee was still in focus. It was a nice, uncommonly interesting shot for this type of subject. Just great. Now the Masters group. This is getting really tough because there are some really great photographs in here. First image is Swing, Batter, Swing, 10 points. This is a sharp image with good action, even captured the moving ball. It's a neat costume on the pitcher and a great anticipation on the face of the batter. The subject otherwise, however, occupies a relatively small amount of the picture, and the log debris is distracting and not artistically attractive. Next image, Acrobat, 10 points. Wow, that was certainly caught at the top. It's a great shot. I'm at a loss as to know what to say about this picture, though, because it was really timed just at the right moment and is a great journalistic shot. The problems are that the Acrobat jumped so high, jumped into the confused area of the background, and the ISO needed to be so high that there's a lot of noise, especially noted on the Acrobat's skin, and it has an overall slightly weird color appearance. Next image, Tobin Determination, 11 points. Nice shot with sharp focus. The writer shows as much determination as does Tobin. It, for me, though, was cropped a little tight at the back and at the top. Next image, Parkour Master, 11 points. Very active and interesting to look at shot of this athlete. It appears that the bokeh was not from careful depth of field shooting, but was added later. There's nothing wrong with that, but for me it needs to look real. Here we have it all the way to the foreground of the image on the left side, and it even includes the pole that the subject is bouncing off of. This is also so on the far right of the picture. Parts of the tree have the same effect and parts do not, though their location is similar in the photograph. With careful masking, you can make this look real. Next image, Blue Angels in the Sky. Attractive composition with beautiful plains and great clouds. The image looks, however, a little thin on my monitor and looks like it would have been a little better if we had upped the blacks or used levels to move the slider from the left over to the edge of the histogram to maximize the blacks. Next image, Basketball in the Alley, Nairobi. Love the way the character painted on the wall turns out to be pointing at the model. It's an interesting shot, sharp, yet action in the model and the ball. Next image, Ruby-throated Hummingbird, 12 points. Sharp and beautiful, Wish the background was a bit darker and didn't have the lighter stripes in it. Next image, exploding water balloon. I didn't know what this was until I read the title, but found it fascinating to look at. Great reflection off the frozen water, and love the spot of color provided by the balloon. The hand is slightly out of focus. Next image, home stretch. 13 points. Nice action shot with flying turf. Sharp and well-lit subject. I might have considered cropping off just a tiny bit of the foreground, and that might have the effect of making the horses look even faster. Next image, strawberries in flight. 13 points, an honorable mention, Maria Downey. I always find this kind of shot interesting. I liked the action and the small star shining from the flying water drop. Would have preferred just the impact bubbles around the strawberries and not having all the fine, looks like carbonation bubbles that are diffused in the water. Next image, frigate bird, 13 points. Honorable mention, Jen Carrick. Nice shot, very sharp. The spot of color is great and the background is perfect for this picture. Now I'm going to get myself in trouble by suggesting that if the rules allow that the upper bird be recloned to the upper left area of the photograph to provide a point of counterbalance. Try it and see what you think. Next image, the launch, 13 points, third place, Danette Volkmer. Interesting shot, makes you look. I especially like the way the tie looks so active. Might have cropped this one with a little more space on the left so it didn't look like he was going to hit his face on the wall. Next image, Judge Roy Scream. 14 points, second place, Ernie Taxic. Love the effect and the sense of movement provided by the double exposures. Like the tint and the cloud, it was in a great place to fill in a void in the sky. Nice picture. Next image, Morning Flight, 15 points, first place, Charlotte Hasty. Very sharp and well-lit hummingbird. Very nice background, and I love the fact that the bird's target was included in the upper right-hand corner. I guess the only thing I might say about this is I wish it wasn't perfectly out of the corner, but this is a beautiful, really nice image. Best in Show, Don Champlin with Wormhole. That image that was very intriguing. It made us stare at it a long time to figure out how it was made and what was going on, and it also had a great artistic quality.